There's a ton of new LEGO sets that have yet to be released, and in today's video, we're going to be going over all of them. Some of these will be releasing over the next 18 months, and some of them might be. Let's get into it. If you've never browsed LEGO Ideas before, I'm going to open you up to a whole new world. Now, I know that you might be thinking, oh yeah, you go to lego.com and then you click shop and then you choose the category LEGO Ideas. No, that is not what I'm talking about. In case you don't know what this is, I'll give you a really quick rundown. LEGO owns a website called ideas.lego.com where fans can go and submit their ideas to eventually potentially get made into LEGO sets. The set must hit some qualifications before it gets reviewed by LEGO, and it can get tweaked a little before it gets released. A really good example of that was recent was the LEGO vending machine. Now, I built this one. It was initially called the prize machine, so the name was adjusted, and there were definitely some changes that were made to it before it released, but that is a really, really popular one that's come out of LEGO Ideas. To explain what we're looking at today, I have to explain to you the review process. First, you submit a set to LEGO Ideas, and then it goes through a brief 1 to 2 day review process. After that, it is posted, and then it can gain public support. It must gain 10,000 public supporters before it goes to the LEGO review team to review, and then after that, it gets approved. Once it gets approved, that's when those changes can be made, and then it will make it to shelves. So today we're going to be looking at the approved sets, and then we're going to be looking at the ones in review. The ones in review, I'll be letting you know how likely I think it is to happen. There is a duplicate of the same thing within there, and 2 different builds, but I'm so excited to share it with you. The first one we have that I wanted to bring up is the Italian Riviera. Now, depending on when this is posted, it might be moved into a different category, and that category is called something to the fact of on shelves or something like that, because this is actually getting released in August 1st. The initial idea had 2,900 pieces, and now that it's been officially put into LEGO shelves and is available for pre-order, it has 3,200 pieces. Visually, you can definitely see some changes that were made to it, but overall it has the same bare bones, which is really cool. I'm so excited for this one. I actually talked about it in my releases video, which is coming out I think in a week from when this video does. So we'll talk about it a little bit then. I don't think I'm going to be getting it on launch day, but I definitely think it's a set I will eventually end up getting. The next is a Tintin Space Rocket. For the rest of this approved list, we do not have an official release date set yet, but we do know it's approved. For this one, they actually spread out the pieces. So according to them, the launch tower has 643 pieces and the rocket will have 1,022 pieces. Some of these LEGO Ideas sets we kind of have rumored release dates for, so I think because there's 1 or 2 more coming before the end of this year, this one will probably get released at some point next year. The next one is the Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. Here we go again. It doesn't say how many pieces it has, but it is very, very highly anticipated. I have been seeing people talk about this on Reddit and TikTok and YouTube for a really, really long time. It definitely looks so much like the movie. I'm very, very excited to see how this turns out. The next one is the Minerals display. We don't know how many pieces it'll be, but this one is rumored to be an October release. This one honestly looks incredible. I've heard that potentially it is releasing. I heard videos where it got 2 million views. I heard it from an inside source, but I've heard that they are taking some time to re-release this because they're reworking it a little bit. It is a little odd that it's on a shelf, especially this is definitely a shelf display set, so they might be reworking that shelf aspect of it a little bit. That would be my guess. Or maybe I heard that. I don't know. The next one is LEGO Godzilla. It doesn't say how many pieces it is. I have a funny feeling this one is being reworked, so I don't think we're gonna get it anytime soon, but because it made it to approved, that means LEGO got the licensing for it, and I'm very excited about that. The next one is the Snoopy Campfire. It has 340 pieces. This is another one that's rumored for October, either as a gift with purchase or as a set, because it is Snoopy's 75th anniversary. I think stylistically they'll have to change a little bit on it, but for the most part, this one, again, has really solid bones. The last one that we know for sure is coming out is the Floating Sea Otter. It doesn't say how many pieces, but it does say that this is way more posable than it looks, and I'm very excited to see how that will work. Apparently you can move its head and its flippers, and I'm very excited about it. It looks incredible. Next, we're going to move on to every set that's in review. So that means it hit 10,000 subscribers and then was moved into the review stage. So there are... how many are here? Oh, there's a lot. We're going over here. There are 60, and I'll go over how likely I think it is, ranging from highly unlikely. Wait, would this make sense for you? Highly unlikely, unlikely, middle, likely, or highly likely. highly likely. Just to let you know, if I'm saying that I think a set's unlikely, that doesn't mean I personally don't like it. There are some within here that I rated as unlikely, even though I really, really desperately want it. First, we have the Taylor Swift Lover House. It doesn't say how many pieces, and I think it's unlikely. This seems really neat, and I think it would do really well sales-wise. Look, the Swifties, they coming in for that merch, but I don't think Taylor Swift's team would be likely to give Lego a license for this, so that is why I feel like it's kind of unlikely. It looks incredible though. Definitely sell the mock instructions for this. That's what I'd recommend. Next is the Medieval Knight. It doesn't say how many pieces, and I'm giving this a middle. Look, I know Lego Knights is like a very big category in Lego, but I can't decide whether I think it's likely because that's a big category or unlikely because it doesn't look like them, so I just gave it a middle. It looks really cool though. Not gonna lie, I'd want to build this one too. I think I just would build anything at this point. Next, we have the Jukebox with Bluetooth speaker. It has 1,821 pieces, and I'm giving this unlikely. I think this concept is really, really cool, and I would love to see it. However, we did get the retro radio, and while that's done okay, I think because we have something similar, and I don't think it was like any kind of crazy hit, they probably won't release something similar. Next, we have the Love Enlighten Me, the Bench of Lampposts in Love. It doesn't say how many pieces, and I'm giving this a middle. So this is kind of with the caveat of if there is a licensing thing to this, then probably unlikely. If there's no licensing, then I would give this highly likely because we've been getting a ton of art sets, and especially with the Lego Love, I think there's a good chance it could happen, but if it's a licensing thing, I don't think so. Next, we have Twice Fancy. It doesn't say how many pieces, and I'm giving this unlikely. Again, looks incredible. So really, I want to emphasize, it's not that I don't like sets, but I think because the BTS set didn't do as well as maybe anticipated, that was definitely a set that was sitting in the sales tab for a very, very long time. This one probably won't. BTS, in my opinion, is a little bit better known globally than probably Twice is. Yeah, I would say it's better known. And if that set didn't do well, then I would worry that they wouldn't want to take the same risk with a potentially less known Korean pop group, K-pop. Wow, I sounded so old there. Next, we have the Portal 2 core replacement. It has 995 pieces, and I'm giving this a likely. Look, Lego does like its gaming sets, if I'm being honest, and this one looks incredible. I also think the video that they did for this was really well put together, so there's a good chance that it actually will come through. Next, we have the Lenore, I sound Australian, Lenore Boeing 737-200. Doesn't say how many pieces, and highly unlikely. Look, I know it's not the Boeing 737 MAX, but I had to look it up to make sure it's not the planes that have been having the issues. I don't know why, but I don't think we're going to get any Boeing 737s because most people can't tell the difference, if I'm being honest. Next, we have the ET, the extraterrestrial. It has 2,990 pieces, and I'm giving this likely. I actually think it's pretty likely. I think we've gotten, hold on, have we gotten an ET set before? Yes, I think this would be likely. We have gotten an ET GWP, and they've also like licensed out things pretty good. Not to mention, if you go on Lego Ideas, there's so many sets inspired by this. I feel like that would show Lego that there's pretty good demand for a set involving ET. Next one is Heartstopper, Be Yourself. It doesn't say how many pieces, and I'm giving this a middle. Netflix does license out with Lego. We obviously got Stranger Things Lego sets, and those have done extremely well for them, so I think that sets a good precedent for this one. However, I really hadn't heard of the show before this, so I don't know very well, so middle. Next is the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air Banks Mansion. It has approximately 2,000 pieces, and I'm gonna give this a likely, kind of again with the caveat of like licensing. We did get a Friends set, and we got an Office set, and I think that those two are really big, but honestly, kind of a hot take here. I haven't watched the Fresh Prince, I haven't watched the Fresh Prince, like, I've probably seen a few episodes here and there, and I've like watched The Office so many times, but I would argue that is more culturally relevant. I would put it kind of on that same level as Friends. It's probably a little bit above The Office for the amount of time it's been around and been popular, so I would say likely, assuming they can get the licensing for it. Next is the Lego DNA 2.0 Double Helix History. Doesn't say how many pieces, and I'm gonna give this a middle. I think if this one gets released, there's going to be some modifications. From the way that they worded this, you kind of have to figure out some of it without instructions, and I don't think Lego's super likely to do that. However, we did just get the evolution stem, and I can't figure out if that helps or hurts it. Next is the La Katrina. It has 2,894 pieces, and I think this one is highly likely. We're getting a Day of the Dead set in August, and I feel like, to me, this says that like Lego will do Day of the Dead sets, and this one, it looks incredible. It looks so good. I think like that's pretty much an easy just release right away sort of set. Next, we have the Mushrooms collection. It doesn't say how many pieces, but I give this one likely. It's a really fun concept. I know this is an entirely different thing, but it really reminds me of the Sea Otters set. And I think if we were able to get Sea Otters, we'll probably be able to get this one. Not to mention like botanicals that aren't specifically flowers have actually been doing really well. Like look at Lucky Bamboo. So I think there's a chance we'll get it. It also, like, in execution reminds me of the Insects collection a little bit. Next is the Stray Kids Ordinary Maniac. It doesn't say how many pieces, and I think this one's unlikely. I think this one has the same issue as the Twice set, where, like, I don't know if they're gonna take another risk on a K-pop set. Stray Kids definitely, I don't think is as well known as Twice even is. See, the only K-pop set I see us getting in the future would be like a Blackpink one, because everybody knows Blackpink. Everybody knows BTS, they know Blackpink. Next is the Smurf Village. It has 2,700 pieces, and I give this one a middle. I think if this was like a year ago, I'd give it a likely or like a highly likely, because I think like sometimes these licensing deals work really well if it coincides with a movie. However, the Smurf movie is coming out soon, and this one's still in review, so middle. Next is the Ramen. Doesn't say how many pieces, and I think it's highly unlikely. Look, I love it. It's such a cool idea. I actually have an off-brand Lego set that's very similar that I have to build, but I think with the way the build looks, I don't know if they're going to approve it because it's a way to use Lego bricks that isn't typically in the Lego style. It looks incredible. I would totally build this, but I think it kind of has that issue. Next, we have the Ancient Roman Temple. It has 2,700 pieces, and I think this one's likely. I love it. It's a very unique idea, and like architecture sets like slap, you know, they do so well, so I could see it. Next is the Ascensor de Bica. It has 733 pieces, and I think this one is highly likely. This is the same thing with the last one. I think architecture sets just can do so incredibly well, not to mention no licensing issues. This one honestly is iconic. Everybody has seen it. Even if you don't know the name of it, you've definitely seen it before, so I would give this likely. Next is the RNLI Shannon Class Lifeboat. It doesn't say how many pieces, and I'm giving this middle. I'm not familiar with this type of build, and I don't remember seeing anything like it in Lego Ideas, but we also never saw anything like the vending machine, so you know, it could happen. Next is the Roman Therme, aka the Roman Bath. It doesn't say, and I would give this one likely. I feel like this is a little bit better known than something like the Ancient Roman Terrace, but I'd probably rank them about the same because I don't know how much they'd want to do a bath set, if I'm being honest. Next, we have the Apple Store. It doesn't say how many pieces, and I'm gonna give this unlikely. I think it's really cool. I would love to build it, but I do not think Apple is gonna give them the license to do that, if I'm being frank. Next is the Downton Abbey Highclere Castle. It doesn't say how many pieces, and I'm gonna give this likely. I'm hoping I said that castle name right because I don't know how to say it. I feel like Downton Abbey actually does a really good job of licensing, so I feel like it's a license that Lego would be likely to get, and I think it would be pretty popular. Next is the Ohio State University Marching Band. It doesn't say how many pieces, but I think it's unlikely. I think if this was released, it'd probably be without the University of Ohio branding. I think when you read through it, it's got a really cool story behind it, but I just don't know how likely people would be to buy it with like that branding. Next is the Periodic Table of Elements. It doesn't say, and I give this unlikely. I think it would be really cool and a really great set. There definitely would have to be a little bit of reworking to make this something that like people would buy. I think if they could make it into something like that, or like, I guess this would be more like the correct dimensions for it, it'd be really cool and like do something to it to make it more fun. Oh my gosh, could you imagine if you could almost put like the elements in there a little bit? That would be really cool. I don't know how you would do that, but like maybe with one of those hug pieces. Next is the Bob Ross The Joy of Building. It doesn't say. I would give this highly likely. Look, Lego art sets have done crazy over the last little bit, and I'm a big fan. I'm not gonna lie. And I've seen online in Lego forums for years people talking about wanting a Bob Ross set, and this one, it looks good. It looks good. It also cited Starry Night in there, and while like the fragileness of that set has always bothered me, I do think that gives it a really good case. Next is the Civil Engineering Types of Bridges Revisited. It has 1,602 pieces, and I would give this highly unlikely. It was already rejected in 2022. It looks really cool. I think it's going to be way too niche. Next, we have the Golden Girls. It doesn't say how many pieces, and I would give this likely. Golden Girls is really iconic. Again, I feel like I've seen a lot of this IP be licensed out, so I feel like Lego could probably get the license for it. And next is the Kinetic Tin Toy. It doesn't say how many pieces, and I would give this highly likely. We've been getting a lot of vintage style sets recently. We just got the vending machine. I keep referencing that. Sorry about that. The retro radio, and then in the next month we're getting that like little arcade machine one. I don't remember off the top of my head what that one's called, but we've been getting like a big resurgence in these vintage style sets, so I think we would definitely get one. Next, we have the Old Man in the Sea. It has 1,300 pieces, and I'm giving this a middle. When I first saw the picture, I was like, oh, this will get approved. It's a perfect GWP, but then I saw the piece count and I was like, oh, that's not a GWP. Can't decide if I think it has enough appeal or not enough appeal. Next is the Big Mouth Billy Bass. It has 2,000 pieces, and I think it's a middle. I can't decide if the appeal for this would be enough. I think there's some people who would really love it, and there'd be some people like, I would never get that. Next is the Camping Trip. It has 1,500 pieces, and I'm gonna give this middle. I think this one's really cute, but I do think it's just as likely to get approved, like as much as it's not likely, if that makes sense. Next, we have the Daft Punk concert. It doesn't say how many pieces, and I'm gonna give this middle. I don't know how they do the lighted brick thing that they keep showing, but I do know we got Pharrell Williams, and that one has actually sold pretty well, so I think with that, we'd be likely to get the Daft Punk one. Next is Appa, the Sky Bison. It has 2,000 pieces in middle. This would be really cool. I think it'd be a really fun build. I don't remember seeing a Last Airbender sort of set, so I don't know on licensing for that one, but I do think it would be incredible. Next, we have the Mediterranean Restaurant. It has 3,350 pieces, and I think this one is likely, especially if it's modular. Ooh, I have a hard time kind of telling because I haven't really built a modular set yet, but if it's modular, that would look so good, especially like if you had like, okay, so you have the Jazz Hotel. No, you have the Jazz Club, and then you have the hotel, and then this on like the other side of the corner. Oh. Next, we have the Halloween House. It has 3,400 pieces, and I think this is likely. I love Halloween. Halloween is becoming more of a thing. I've always really loved Halloween. I'm an October baby, so it's like part of the deal with being an October baby, but Halloween definitely has become more popular. Summerween is now becoming a thing, and also there was a Bricklink set that makes me think this would be likely to happen. Different set, same kind of theme, but there is Hotel in Transylvania. I managed to get my hands on it, and I'm waiting for it to ship, but I think because of that one, we'd be likely to get the Halloween House. Next is a Jellyfish Collection. It doesn't say how many pieces, and I think this is highly likely. It really reminds me of the Insect Collection, and with that one retiring at the end of this year, I think it would be likely to be approved. I also just really want to build it. It looks cool, and I know that like aesthetically, it definitely has a certain appeal that, you know, it would look good on a box. It would look good on the Lego website, and you don't have to license out jellyfish. Next, we have Disney's Phineas and Ferb Doofenshmirtz Evil Incorporated. It doesn't say, and I give this one middle. It is so hard not to sing that, but I'm not a good singer, so I'm not going to do that to you. This one was submitted once and then didn't make it, but this time around it's a staff pick. I can't figure it out whether I think it's going to or not. I would really love to get a Perry the Platypus, but Phineas and Ferb is so iconic too. I feel like it would sell pretty well, but at the same time, it didn't make it once. Next, we have Peter Rabbit and the Garden. It has 4,600 pieces, and I think it's highly likely. It reached support so quick for one of these sets that already off the bat, I'm like, that's got to make it go faster. Not to mention, I don't think this would have any licensing issues, and honestly, it looks incredible. Again, aesthetically, I don't think there'd be much to change there. Next is the Junkyard with Working Magnet Crane. It doesn't say how many pieces, and I'm gonna give it a middle. I love the working crane aspect and the whole concept of this. The way it's set on there, they get it to work, is underneath the car, there's like a magnet in like the hood. Is that what they call it? No. Like the top of the car to make it pick up, and I think the price to manufacture that would be kind of high for Lego, where they maybe wouldn't do it. Next, we have the Muppets Startler and Waldorf's Balcony Key Pack. It doesn't say how many pieces. I think it's likely because it's really popular online. So the woman who made this posted it online because it was her mock, and it did so well that people encouraged her to post it on Lego Ideas, and then it hit support pretty quickly. So I think it's likely. Next is E.T. the Extraterrestrial. I know, there's 2 sets with the same name. It doesn't say how many pieces, and I think it's likely. I think one of these 2 have to get approved because it's so popular. Literally, E.T. like Lego idea sets get submitted all the time. Next is the Go-Go Power Rangers, 1,225 pieces, and I think it's highly unlikely. I think licensing is going to be a big issue on this, if I'm being honest. Next is the Holiday Rose Hill Cottage. It doesn't say how many pieces, and I think this one's likely. We do get a new Christmas set every single year, and we need one, and this one looks good. I wouldn't be surprised if this got picked in the future. We've already gotten the Home Alone house, so Home Alone house is sold so well, by the way. Every single time around the holidays, it gets back ordered and people have been freaking out about it retiring. I'm actually trying to get my hands, I think I might get my hands on it this year to make sure I don't miss it. Next is the Coraline, the Pink Palace. It doesn't say, and I think it's highly likely. The off-brand version of this does insanely well on TikTok. That's one of the ones, so like I'm traumatized from trying to do TikTok shop off-brand Legos. That's one of the ones I would do it again for, that and the Black Roses. Next is the Brooklyn Nine-Nine. It has 2,010 pieces, and I think it's unlikely. Look, Brooklyn Nine-Nine is like one of my favorite shows of all time. I love Brooklyn Nine-Nine. When it got taken off of Hulu, I almost canceled my subscription. I would love to see this get approved, but it's the 3rd time it's been in review. I have a funny feeling it's got to be like a licensing issue if it's made it through that many times. Next is the Mini Moog Analog Synthesizer. It doesn't say how many pieces, and I'm giving this highly likely. I think so. This set to me feels very in line with the Grand Piano, where it's like one where you're like, oh man, I gotta have this. Not to mention the resurgence of retro style sets. All that's working in its favor. And like, I don't think that there'd be any like IP licensing, anything involved with this. Next is the Book Nook Story Laboratory. It doesn't say, and I'm gonna give this middle. I don't think this comes from a specific like book, but if it does get released, it's gonna definitely be modified. Book Nooks at this time are not released with like books on the side of it. So I think if that did get released, it definitely would be modified a little bit. Next is the Working Cuckoo Clock. It doesn't say, highly likely. Honestly, I think it's a really cool concept and I think it would do really well. There's been a lot of sets that have like a technical bit but don't look technical at all that do really well. And honestly, like on a personal level, I kept this away from the rating, but I'm gonna be pissed if they don't release this set. This one is so cool. I've never seen anything like it, and like I think to me this shows what can be done with Lego. If Lego doesn't approve it, if the person who created this reaches out to me with build instructions, I will build it. I'll even give them like $100 for that design. I will build it and review it. Next is the How I Met Your Mother. It has 1,400 pieces, and I think this one's unlikely. I think licensing is going to be an issue here. Also, I've watched all of How I Met Your Mother like 2 or 3 times now. I like it, but I think that there's other certain sets within like this that would be more likely to get approved. Next is Art of Japan. It doesn't say. I think this is middle. If this comes out definitely as a GWP, I think it would be likely, or at least more likely. It looks a little bit like the postcards, but isn't, and I worry that doesn't help it. Next, we have the National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. It has 3,900 pieces. Middle. There are 2. I think this one is more unlikely because I think the other one looks better. Next is the Griswold Family Christmas House. It doesn't say how many pieces. I think this one's a lot more likely. The way that the snow looks on this, the colors, the yellow on the other one was like a little bit loud to me. To me, this movie that it comes from is like a classic, you gotta watch it at Christmas time movie. You know, like there's Home Alone, this, and Die Hard. Next is the Grand Central Station. It doesn't say how many pieces, and I'm gonna give this likely. I think this one will get released. For one, Lego trains are super popular right now. It would go so great in a Lego city. It looks to me to be modular, so I think that this works perfectly. Next is the Scooby-Doo Ravenwood Mansion version 2. It has 4,700 pieces, and I think this one is likely. It looks incredible. There's so many great details. Scooby-Doo also licensed itself out pretty frequently. Next is the Gilmore Girls Stars Hollow. Doesn't say middle. I wish. I love Gilmore Girls. It's starting to turn fall. It's almost time for me to rewatch it again. I watched it for the first time, kind of like almost like book club style with my mom and my sister. I don't know how likely we are to get it. I think if we got something more like Luke's Diner, it would be a little bit more likely, but kind of just different pieces from around Stars Hollow. Next is the Paddington Bear. It has 1,300 pieces. I'm gonna give it middle. Like, I'm not too familiar with the franchise, so I don't really feel like I can say like anything to demand with this, or like how licensing goes with them. Next is Stonewall National Monument, New York, USA. It has 3,750 pieces, and I'm giving this a middle. So I'm not sure, I don't know, like I'm not very familiar with this. I'm looking at it and I'm like, I think some changes would have to be made to this one. So next we have the Pixar's Pizza Planet truck. It doesn't say how many pieces. I think it is highly likely. For one, we literally just got a Pixar license set, and it includes a reference to this. So I don't think they'll have an issue with licensing. Also, that has been a very, very, very beloved part of Pixar movies. There are whole shirts that they sell at Disney, like based around this. There is literally restaurants in Disney based around it. It's a very, very popular concept. So I think so. Next, we have the Mary Poppins Back to Cherry Tree Lane. It doesn't say, and I think it's likely. I really do think it could be released. It just looks so pretty. I don't know. They did just do the live action remake of this one, and I think it did okay. So like likely, but not nearly as much as like the Alien Pizza Planet. We're getting that one. Our final one in review as of the filming date is the Worldless Studio Ghibli. It has 4,200 pieces, and I give this middle. Sometimes the Japanese companies can be a little funky with licensing, so I hope not. I mean, well, we do have Super Mario, and that's Nintendo, so maybe, but we also just haven't seen much come, like merch-wise, come from Studio Ghibli that doesn't come directly from Studio Ghibli, if that makes sense. Like, you don't see a ton of licensing deals with them, so I don't know. All right, well, I hope you enjoyed this video because this was a really, really long filming process. Hopefully I cut it down enough, but I've filmed for like 56 minutes now, so I hope you enjoyed this video. I really, really had a fun time making it, and if you've never browsed it, I'd highly recommend looking at Lego Ideas. It's really cool. If you appreciate that at all, if you wouldn't mind tapping the subscribe button, because that would mean the world to me, and I will see you guys next time. All right, bye!